Hello, everyone. Welcome to our home. We're James and Roberta Wilburn. And so today we have a very special drumming presentation for you. And while I am getting ready to share our screen, James is going to play a little bit for you. So today our presentation is called Sounding the Beat of Our Cultural Roots from Africa to America. And this presentation was produced on behalf of the Spokane Public Library by Wilburn and Associates, LLC, Champions for Diversity and Inclusion for Black History Month. And so today we're going to be sharing a little bit about who we are. I'm going to share a very special poem for you. We'll talk about traditional African music, use of the drum in Africa, drums during slavery and modern times, and then our experiences with the drums. So who are we? We are Wilburn and Associates, a consulting business that focuses on cultural events, diversity training, cultural coaching, and having courageous conversations. And James and I are the co-founders of Wilburn and Associates, and James is the master drummer, and I'm his humble apprentice. So, share a little bit about who I am. I am African, not because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. I am African, not because my skin is black, but because my mind is empowered by Africa. I am African, not because I live in Africa, but because my soul is at home in Africa. When Africa weeps for her children, my cheeks are stained with tears. When Africa honors her elders, my head is bowed in respect, and my soul is filled with pride. When Africa mourns for her losses from the Middle Passage, genocide, and disease, my hands are joined in prayer, and my heart is filled with sorrow. When Africa celebrates her achievements, my feet are alive with dancing, and my whole being rejoices. I am African, for her majestic mountains and her beautiful seashores are etched in my mind. And I see the artistic handiwork of my Heavenly Father throughout the land. I am African, for I am one with her people because they embrace me as their own. And I know that my future is built on a rich legacy of Africa's past. I am African, for her flowing rivers quench my spirit and brings me closer to the sources of life. I am African because when the music of Africa's tribal drum beats fill the air, my whole being is in tune with the rhythm of the universe. My feet walk in its pathways, and I become the footprints of history. I am African because Africa is the cradle of civilization, and it is from her shores that I draw strength and wisdom. I am African because I am proud of my heritage and African ancestry. I am African, not because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. And this is a poem that I adapted from the work of Wayne Visser. And it speaks to who I am, who we are, because we are proud of our African ancestry. For the longest time, I didn't know for sure what my heritage was. Because as African American people, we were stolen from the motherland. But then a couple of years ago, our daughter gave us Ancestry DNA. And then we were able to uncover our Ancestry DNA story. And so you can see that I come from Congo in southern Batu region, 54%, the Ivory Coast and Ghana, 11%, Mali, 9%, Benin and Togo, 7%, England, Wales, and Northern Europe, 6%. And so you will say, you don't look like you have any European in me. Well, you know, my great-grandmother was European and American. And so you can see those influences here. But as you can see, I am 82% African. James, on the other hand, is also coming from the African ancestry. And the 41% is Nigerian. And then 18% Benin and Togo, 18% Mali, then Cameroon. And he also has a little bit of European American in him, but as most African Americans do, because of our slave history, you can see that he is 93% African. This is our DNA story, which verifies indeed that even though we weren't born in Africa, we are African. So let me share a little bit about traditional African music. And this is something that was written by Charles Ahovisi. He says, in traditional African culture, every life aspect has specific music to accompany the telling of a story. That is why learning traditional African music is to simultaneously learn and embrace all of a given culture. Traditional drumming is a powerful tool for helping participants to communicate, tell stories, and learn about traditional daily life in Africa before the influence of colonization. Before the telephone was invented, African people used drums to communicate, tell stories, and express their emotions and feelings. The griot, or storyteller, sends the royal court's message to the population. Originally, traditional instruments were used to send a message to relatives and friends, whereas nowadays, people use modern technology such as the cell phone, email, and delivered mail to communicate. African people believe rhythm is a natural in their bodies. Rhythm is a primal form of communication and is very rooted in us. Traditional African music is what binds the community together. Traditional music is an essential component of African dance. The energy of the drum forms an important triad of music, dance, and song that is very important in traditional African culture. There's a certain heartbeat that you feel when you connect with the rhythm of the drum. Now, James is going to share about the use of the drum in Africa and music during slavery.
Yeah, in Africa, the drum was used for many reasons, many purposes. It served them in announcing wars when there's a danger approaching. You had the drum to warn, and you could speak from village to village and from tribe to tribe, from country to country. The djembe drum is a very loud drum, and it can speak from country to country, village to village, and that's a djembe drum. And it was used to, along with the doom doom and other drums, to communicate those messages. It was also used in celebrations like weddings. I had the opportunity and the privilege to attend a wedding in Senegal, West Africa, and the drums were used in the wedding, and it was a very festive occasion. There was dance, and the drums, of course, was the primary instrument. There were other instruments there, but the drum, the drum, the drum. And I was able to travel to 12 countries, 7 different countries, 12 different cities in Africa. And the drumming was so varied. It was so different in each country that I visited that I was like a kid in a candy store learning how to play the drums there. And that's the way the drum was used in Africa, and is still symbolically used that way today in Africa.
You want to do a demonstration?
I began in what you see to the left there, the Black Cat Hotel, which my father was just opening at that time. I wasn't born then, but afterwards he had bands that traveled the Chitlin circuit, and they would stop off and play for a night stay before moving on, And I got my nickname Hammer because as a baby, little one, you know, I was big enough to walk and love music. The band was playing that night, and I had a hammer that I was playing with. And when the band took a break, I went over to the bass drum I wanted to play, and I hit it with that hammer and bust the head out of it. And man, did that drummer have a fit that night. But my daddy paid for it and everything. And since then, I had the nickname Hammer. You know, well, when I got big enough to get in the kitchen and get things down, I took mama's pots and pans and I experimented with the different sounds. And so those pots and pans, as you can see, from the big ones to the little ones, I would take a spoon and play those. And then I got big enough in school, was asked to start a drum corps in the schools. And so we got together and we started a drum corps, and we had majorettes, and, you know, and we participated in several contests and won a couple of 2 or 3 of them, you know. And so that was my experience growing up in drumming, you know. And then I got big enough to play traps, and my friend mother bought him a set of drums. He was a guitarist, and so we started us a band when at a very early age. You know, I guess I was about 12 or so when you see me there in that hat. I've always worn hats, you know, and so we got together and started a band, and we were pretty busy. We played in various clubs, you know, around where we had to take our parents with us in order to play, you know, there. And so we moved on from there to as I got older and played. And when I finished high school, I joined several different bands, Earth, Nature, Virgin Earth, you know, and various other bands, and played in Detroit and West Memphis and around Arkansas and places like that. So, you know, I was very busy as a drummer. And then I heard a war uh, and they introduced their percussionist Papa D. Allen on congas, and so I kind of, you know, gravitated toward the congas, and these are our congas here, you know, CPs and LPs, cosmic percussions and Latin percussions, and then I moved on from there. Next slide, and then I taught at Lemoyne College, where we recorded a CD, as a matter of fact, and you know, you can get it on the website, Lemoyne College African Drumming Ensemble, that I recorded with the students you see to the left, and you know, we performed so much in Memphis till we had to start turning it down, you know, and so from there, Lemoyne College, we moved to Detroit. I mean, moved to Spokane. And so since being here in Spokane, I started an African drumming ensemble at Spokane Falls Community College, which I was never got the opportunity to head up because I was working in another capacity over student support services. So they gave that job to someone else. And I think they still have that class there now, you know. And so since then, you know, I've been teaching my apprentice here, the African drumming, you know, and and then while at Lemoyne, we traveled. I took some students to Senegal, West Africa, and in Senegal, West Africa, we recorded a CD there, and it's called Kulafia, World Peace, and it was in the original in the native language of Wolof, in the native language there, and it was speaking of the war between the Senegalese and the Mauritanians, and you know, and it was calling for peace between the two countries. So that was a very interesting visit to West Africa with the two students, and the students are singing on that CD, Kulafia, and we visited the Goree Island, and at Goree Island, you know, that's where the slaves were loaded onto the ships and brought through the Middle Passage, and we stood in the door of no return, which was a very lasting experience being there in Goree Island, you know. And then next slide, this is my apprentice. And she's doing pretty good. She's coming along, you know, and and then those are pictures of me playing, and I played in various different venues here in Spokane, primarily the African American graduation. They call it Black graduation, and each year is held at a different college, and it's African American students who are graduating from high school and college, and even those who are graduating with their master's degree, you know, and they march along with the professors like Professor Wilburn here and other professors, and there's a ceremony really, you know, and we march into the drum and we march out to the drum. So,
and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be his apprentice, because over the years since we've been married, he's always played the drums, and I would see his drums and I would, walk by them and do just about that. And that was about it. And then when the Washington Arts Commission had a grant, and they said that they were funding cultural programs for a master to take an apprentice, and the apprentice could be a family member. And I thought that this would be a prime opportunity for me to become motivated to have my husband teach me to play the drums. But working kind of two jobs, working a full-time job and running a business hadn't let very much opportunity for me to practice and do as much as I liked. But I did actually do a solo, actually by myself, last year at Meade High School, at their Martin Luther King event. And I also play with him sometimes when he's doing other events. And so I'm planning on picking up and continuing to learn about drumming, because it is a part of my culture and heritage. And so that's just a little taste of sounding the beat of our cultural heritage from Africa to the Americas.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.